guys, welcome back to another Oily Skin Diaries video. Today we are going to be testing out the latest foundation launch from Benefit. It is the Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation. If you'd like to see any of my previous foundation reviews, I will link some down below along with the playlist. I will also have a list down below of some just other oily skin related things like favorite foundations, favorite SPF, moisturizers, all of that good stuff. There will also be timestamps down below if you would like to skip ahead. And what else? Oh, I will also have shades listed down below that I am in popular foundations, along with a blog post that swatches this foundation next to some more popular shades. A lot of housekeeping in these foundation reviews, but let's go ahead and get started. So the Benefit Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation has just launched and it is available on the Sephora website. I just checked. It retails for $29 American and $38 Canadian. I have not tried this and I figured instead of me trying it out by myself, all alone, we could try it out together and I will wear it throughout the day, do a flash photo test, and I have 4 of the shades of the foundation here. They sent it along to me to try, so I figured I would do like maybe some face swatches that may help you as well, because I don't know what shade I am because I literally just took it out of the box. So this foundation claims to be light to medium coverage. It says it's good for all skin types, sensitive, dry, combo, oily, and it says it has a natural finish, which is very exciting. I have been really into lighter coverage, more natural finish foundations, and I think that they definitely have a place. I feel like you see a lot on YouTube of people, you know, trying really high coverage foundations, which is great, but you don't always want to wear that. Or you see people trying natural coverage or lighter coverage foundations, trying to build them up, and they're like, I can't see it. But you don't need to see everything, if that makes sense. I think there's definitely a place for every kind of finish. So very excited to see this, especially moving into summer. And there is SPF 15 in here. You're getting a full fluid ounce, which is the average size of a foundation. Comes in this super adorable packaging. I think it's like just cute enough, if that makes sense, because things in the beauty world have gone a little bit off the rails in terms of like cuteness, to the point where I'm like, I think I'm too old for that. I mean, you're never too old for anything, but for me personally, I also like to see a little bit of luxury in a product, especially if you're paying a higher end price. So I think that this is like just cute enough. It has a squeezy top there, which is super convenient, and the packaging colors actually kind of coincide with the shade that's inside of there. Did I have something else to say? Oh, speaking of shades, very exciting to see that there are 12 shades in this line, and it seems to be a nice range. I understand that not every brand can or wants to come out with 45 or 50 shades, and if you cannot do that, just ensure that you have a true range from light to deep. So I haven't actually seen it all in person, so I can't speak to that, but I am glad to see that in there, because I have always been on the end, if not unable to purchase Benefit foundations, which is a total bummer because I by no means am anywhere near deep. So very excited to see that they have come out with this. So let's go ahead and put it all on my face, and I'm just realizing now that I didn't wet my beauty blender, so I'm gonna go do that and I'll be right back. So now I'm gonna start with just some face swatches. This one here is shade 5. You can see it's a little bit light for me. Moving on to 6. I think that's better. I think that looks pretty good actually. Shade 7. That's probably a little bit more yellow. And then this is 8. So 8 is definitely too deep. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Like I said, I will have a blog post down below with swatches so that you can see probably shade 7 swatched next to some of my other foundations. I can hear someone coughing in the hallway there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the shade 7, which is described as medium tan warm. And what I will say is that the outside of the packaging is definitely deeper than what's inside of it. I thought it was going to end up being 5 or 6 just based on the look of the outside of the packaging, but what's actually the shade here is not that accurate of a representation to what's inside of it, because this obviously, it looks pretty close to my skin, but it definitely looks a little bit warmer than what I would normally go for. But this is what was the best match. And then I'm going to be using the Benefit Professional Pearl Primer. I really like this. I have a full video on my favorite primers for oily skin, which I will link down below, and that is definitely one of them. I don't actually have a lot of experience with the original Professional, so I can't speak to that, but I like the Pearl one. I don't find it particularly pearly. So on this half of my face, I'm going to use my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, which is one of my favorite foundation brushes, and just kind of stipple it into the skin and see how it goes. It doesn't really have much of a scent, just foundation-y, and I really hope that this works out because I'm so into natural foundations lately. Okay, and it blends like a dream. I think the shade match is good. This is exciting, good start. Because we got into this place where everything was coming out, like trying to be more and more and more full coverage. So it's nice to see this, especially with it being summer. So that looks really good. And let me try it on the other side. I'm gonna do this with a beauty blender. So I'm just reading a little bit more about it on this is a fresh beauty blender, by the way. Oh, it's satisfying. But it says it's lightweight and buildable, easy to apply, flashback free, which we will test, contains shea extract, which is an ingredient known to smooth the skin and help protect it. And then it also says it has a natural matte finish with light to medium coverage. So that all sounds really up my alley. Beauty blender looks good. I would say the brush side looks a little bit more matte, just slightly, and has more coverage, which is not really a surprise. I'm gonna go ahead and just build it up a little bit on my cheeks. As I've said time and time again, no matter the foundation, I like to kind of stick to whatever they say in terms of coverage. Like if something says it's natural or a medium, I don't want to have to put, or don't want to put a ton on my face trying to get it to full, because a lot of the time you won't get there, and especially if you have oily skin like myself. In my experience, the more foundation that I put on my face, the oilier it gets. So it does say it's buildable, so I do want to kind of just test that out briefly, but this looks incredible. Let's see how it holds up throughout the day, but just the actual color match and the way it looks on my skin, I think it looks really, really good. So I just did my brows and given it a little bit of time to set into my skin just to see where it kind of ends up. I think there's definitely a little bit of a sheen to my skin. It does claim to be natural or natural matte. I would say we're about there, maybe a little bit more dewy than I would consider a natural matte, but it depends who you are, I guess. It has set down quite a bit. Honestly, I can't say that I would never not powder my face, if that makes sense. So I don't understand the point that it gets to that the majority of people would do that. So I can't really totally speak to that. I guess it feels good. It doesn't feel sticky, but I still would never like not powder because I do have oily skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a flash photo and put on the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Now I am back completely made up, and if you are curious about the look that I'm wearing, I will link to an Instagram tutorial down below. I just filmed a mini one if you'd like to see what else is on my face. It is, as always, listed down below, and so far I'm really pulling for this foundation. I love the way it looks, and this is one of those foundations, and I think I've talked about this kind of foundation before, but it's like a concealer not necessary foundation, because if you're wearing something super full coverage and you know you might bring it up to under your eyes, but for me I don't really bring my foundation there. But that means if it's a little bit more full coverage or it's not as natural, it would look very odd to have just that kind of stark line between your under eyes and the rest of your foundation. But for this, the shade match is so good, the finish is so light and natural that I really felt like I could just throw this on with like a brow gel and be good to go. And I cannot say that about a lot of foundations because it just blends in so beautifully to the skin, evens out the skin tone. I do find it buildable. I wouldn't say, it's hard to tell like what people consider medium and full coverage anymore. This is definitely on the lighter coverage side, so it just depends what you're used to. But for me, I think that this is absolutely just stunning. So happy with this so far, so I'm really hoping that it holds up well throughout the day, because right now I'm like, wow, I love this a lot. So yeah, so far so good, but I will check back with you. Oh, I forgot the photos. So in natural light, I think it looks incredible, or not natural light, my, ring light light. I think it looks so good. As you can see, I don't think it looks like I'm missing anything. A lot of the time when I take these photos, when I have just foundation on, it looks silly. And not that this photo is incredibly flattering, but I do think it looks good. It doesn't really look like anything's missing necessarily. So I think that if you are a more natural makeup wearer, this could potentially be a great option for you. When I brought in the flash photo, however, I don't feel like I got intense flashback, but I definitely didn't feel like it looked as warm as it did in like my kind of more natural lighting without the flash. That being said, when you're taking a flash photo and you're the only person in the photo and you're really close up to it, it is going to kind of focus in on your face. So I don't think it looked horrible, but I definitely didn't think it looked as warm, if that makes sense. So anyways, I'm going to go on about my day and I will check back with you about midway through to see how we're doing in some natural light. Back with my midday check-in in some natural lighting. I thought you may want to see what it looks like outside of the bright lights. I've had it on for about 4 hours now. Bringing you in a little bit closer, I think things look really good. A little bit of my natural oils pushing through, but I don't feel the need to blot, if you were curious. Rue is here with me too. I don't feel like it is oxidized. It feels really comfortable on my skin, really lightweight. I realized I forgot to talk about the blurring properties that it claims to have. I mean, it definitely blurs imperfections. Obviously, it's a foundation. It has pigmentation in there. I don't feel like it necessarily blurs pores or anything. I don't have a major issue with pores. And I also wanted to mention, although I'm wearing a primer all over my face, I find primers can tend to help, but overall they will not make or break a foundation for me. In general, I'll skip primer, but I know a lot of people like to know how things go with primer and how they go with brush and with a sponge, so that's why I'm kind of just testing it for all the factors. But I think that it does look really, really good so far. Blush, bronzer, highlight, everything is still in place, so I'm gonna wear it for a few more hours and I will check back with you. We've made it to the part of the day where I've changed shirts. I'm no longer wearing lipstick. My hair is even more frizzy than it was to begin with, but we are here at the end of the day, and makeup wise, I think things look really good. Definitely some shine to my skin, but the lights definitely enhance the amount of shine that's on my skin, and I do have oily skin, so I expect some oil to come through. That's not really a shock there. It's kind of more important to me about how it holds up throughout the day and how it actually feels on my skin, making sure things don't patch or slide around or oxidize, all that good stuff, which it did none of that. I am going to blot a little bit. I don't feel like it oxidized. I haven't powdered or touched up at all today. I haven't had like a super active day, but that doesn't really matter. Like, my skin is just oily. It oils no matter what. And I think things look so good. I mean, this is only my first impression of this foundation, but first impression is really, really good. I will definitely continue to use this. And like I mentioned, I don't find that primer makes or breaks a foundation for me. It can kind of enhance it. But if I'm gonna hate a foundation, a primer is not gonna stop that. So far, I think that this is great. I really like the shade match for me as well. I don't feel like it oxidized. So I think if you are looking for a foundation that's gonna be a little bit more natural on the skin, something super easy, I think this is such a good option. Really, really great for summer. And I am gearing up to do a best natural foundations video. I already have one on my favorite foundations for textured skin, which is kind of in that same vein. So I will link to that down below like I mentioned. But this is a really, really beautiful foundation, and I'm very, very happy with it. I do have the Benefit, what's it called? The Pore Foundation. I can't remember what it's called, and that kind of, this kind of gives me vibes similar to that, but I've never actually reviewed that and only worn it a couple times. So let me know if you'd like me to review that, and then I can compare it, because I just don't have a vision in my mind of what that's actually like, but it is that similar kind of lightweight. I would say that this one is a little bit thicker in consistency, but it's by no means heavier on the face. Super, super lightweight, so I'm absolutely impressed. Let me know down below if you have tried this, what your skin type is, because that's always helpful for other people to know, because everybody has a different experience with a foundation. For me, this is what I'm looking for right now, is something more light medium, something a little bit more natural coverage. If this had come to me a year ago, would I have enjoyed it? I don't know, but right now this is the kind of foundation that I'm super into, so I'm really glad that it has launched while I'm currently appreciating more natural and a little bit less matte foundations, but still something that holds up on my skin. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, and stay tuned for my new drugstore launch week that is coming up next week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!